Appliances Limited Q4 FY20 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mayuresan VMG from Butterfly Gandhi Maruti Appliances Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. This is Mayuresan. We hope everyone is safe and healthy. As we all know, the COVID has changed day-to-day lives for everyone. We moved to work from home from 21st March when lockdown was imposed. During the lockdown period, we conducted various video conferences as well as calls, and we were in constant touch with our distributors and dealers. Slowly and gradually, activity has resumed. Our manufacturing facility resumed production in mid-May. Post the lifting of lockdown, the demand is coming back, and we are seeing improvement on a daily basis. Having said that, the sales loss happening in April and May will be difficult to cover up during this year. We can discuss more about the COVID during the Q&A session, as most of you will have specific questions around it. Let me give you a quick update on the quarterly financials. Q4 started well, but due to the lockdown in the last 10 days, it had a huge impact on our quarterly financials. We lost about 40 crores of revenue during that period. We closed the year by doing about rupees 110 crores revenue compared to 150 crores previous year. Similarly, profitability of the company also got impacted due to lesser revenue. The inventory is also high because of sales loss because of the lockdown. The debt of the balance sheet as on March 2020 is about 170 crores compared to 154 crores the previous year. We can now proceed to question and answers Q&A session.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question, please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants request to use handsets for asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment for the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Ashish Kumar from Infinity Alternate. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayuresan, and I think it's a tough time. I think there are two questions from me. One is to understand what is the cost cutting and what is the break-even level for us, and where are we in terms of the daily sales that we are seeing, and how do we see next 4, 6, 8 weeks till we get to the break-even. And second is a related question is that what is the kind of cash flows that you are looking at in this entire COVID period, let's say from 15th of March till the time that we had started seeing cash break-even. And how do you propose to fund that cash loss? I think those are two questions. If I can, yeah.
See, what we are looking at is there'll definitely be some degrowth, but day to day we are seeing very good demand from the market. There are good symptoms which we are seeing every day. Every day the market is improving. But the revenue loss which is happening in April and May will definitely affect this year. For that, we are currently working on very strong cost-cutting measures. What we are planning for this year is, it's very hard to tell at this point, but by the end of the year, we want to achieve a break-even scenario. We don't want to end in loss for this year, even if there is some degrowth. On the cash flow part, yes, there is a cash loss which has happened because of April and May losses. We are currently talking with our banks to raise temporary cash flow, temporary loans. which we want our debt to come back to normal by year end. So this will be a temporary phase where we will be raising some debt from the banks.
Mayuresan, I think couple of things. One is I was looking for something more specific, like what is our new break even? So let's say on cost cut side, how much do you think our monthly cash burn, monthly fixed costs would have come down to where they were, let's say pre-COVID, and where are they now? And second is in terms of sales, let's say in the month of May, how much have you done? And let's say what is the expectation for the month of June, if I can ask that specifically.
See, I will not be able to answer revenue for the month, but what I can say is current fixed cost of about 10 crores per month, we want to reduce it by 20%. That is the target which we are working on, and we are on target to do that.
Okay. So our gross margin roughly is at 40%. Do you see the gross margin changing in the post-COVID world, or do you think the gross margin would be kind of flat?
It will be similar. We don't see any changes there at this point.
At this point of time. So basically, we have to look at an EBITDA break-even, and this fixed cost is without interest payment, I presume.
No, I'm talking not about EBITDA break-even. I'm talking about PBT, PAT break-even.
PAT break-even. But I'm saying the fixed cost that you talk about 8 crores, let's say 10 crores going down to 8 crores, that is net of interest payment.
No, that is only the fixed cost without interest payment.
Without interest
but
payment.
Our target is to do break even at the PAT level.
At the PAT level. So the problem is that unfortunately what happens in the second half of the year is nobody knows what happens for how the Diwali goes, and everybody hopes that by August, September everything will come back to normalcy. But nobody knows how things are going to pan out, right? It's an uncertain world. So what I was looking was that how much it happens, because when I look at your balance sheet side, right, I look at a debt which is already almost at 170 crores or 170, 180 crores of debt.
Yeah, the debt is at 170 crores. Yes.
That is at 170 crores.
Yes, what we are seeing some positive signs in the market currently as we speak. Day by day, it's changing. But our internal working is to reduce cost in such a way that even if there is a very steep degrowth, we should be able to break even. We can't get into a loss scenario. That is how we are working. If there is a positive offshoot, we will be better off in a better way.
So when you say deep degrowth, it will be at what level? 500 crore level, 600 crore level? What's the number at which you think you will achieve a break even?
It is very hard to say, Mr. Ashish, because our internal working, we are working in a very, very worst case scenario basis. But
so what is your worst case scenario in terms of degrowth, let's say?
See, we feel that at this point, we feel that a month back we had a different feeling, and now we have a different feeling. We feel that we are planning to work in such a way that even if we degrow at 20-25%, we should be able to sustain and do break even.
And when you said a month back you had a different feeling and now you have a different feeling, do you think that is a reasonable expectation of 20-25% degrowth, or do you think it will be higher than that?
It was higher than that. Now we are seeing more than our expectation. The market is better. We are seeing a very positive sign happening in the market.
So in first quarter, will you have a cancellation or not?
Sorry, first quarter?
In June, will you have a cancellation or not?
No. First quarter will be negative for sure. End of year, definitely we will be achieving the first quarter is lost because the sales happening in April and it's very hard to bring back.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prashant Kutty from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the opportunity. So firstly, you just spoke about that you're looking at this current scenario, thinking about the 20%. But could you tell us what we're getting here from the market is that we know there's a lot of activity happening and pretty much are there and then also online sales are being well. And from the alternatives and all, supposedly those are areas of so any reason as to why we are probably looking at such kind of degrowth, given that online and other alternate channels were probably growing a lot for us? How would the trends be over there? If you could just give us some.
Hi, Prashant. See, online is doing very, very good at this point. Even the retail market is coming back, but what we are giving you is the worst case scenario where we'll have to be prepared to cut down the expense in that way. But definitely we will be doing better than that, seeing the current market conditions.
Okay, but if you could just give us some numbers in terms of how is the year ended, let's say online sales, other channel-wise, if you could just give us some sense in terms of how sales was across different channels, and also in terms of how was sales across various segments.
If you see the year ended, if you see the alternate channels, the new channels, which is the online, modern trade and exports as well as corporates, we did a revenue of about 220 crores, which was about 120 crores in FY19. So we had almost double growth in these new channels, about 90-95% of growth.
Okay.
The majority of growth happened only in the online channel, where we were, because in the year before we were only at 45 crore. We had the majority of growth in this channel because our base was very, very small.
And how much would be retail?
If you see the entire retail channel, if you want to know the traditional retail, or if you take the entire retail, we had a growth of about 17%. And if you take a channel like oil marketing company, we had a degrowth of 44%. So net growth is the company is about 4%.
What was traditional retail, sir? Sorry, how much traditional retail grew by 17%?
No, not traditional retail. The entire retail with new channels.
Okay, yeah. I'm asking about traditional retail.
Traditional retail. Right now, I don't have the data now, Prashant. I'll give it to you later.
You said OMCs declined by 45%.
Okay. Correct.
And could you give us how is the annual sales in terms of segment wise, in terms of how the trends have been across categories?
If you see category wise, the appliances category has actually grown very well. If you take a product like mixer grinder, we had a growth of about 12%. Gas stoves, we had a growth of more than 40%. And if you take cookers, we had a growth of about 30%. These are the major three categories which have grown for us.
Okay.
All other categories were about the same.
About the same?
We didn't see any growth in other product categories.
Okay, they were flat.
Yeah, they were flat, yeah.
Okay, they were flat because of the COVID quarter.
Correct.
Okay. So when you're saying, sir, that things are picking up, when you're talking about you're probably feeling better on a month-on-month basis, are there any specific category trends we are probably seeing? Because typically when you're trying to hear is that when you're more at in-home, there is probably increasing trend for be it mixer grinders, gas stoves, and so on and so forth, or maybe certain other appliances. So are we kind of seeing similar trends across? If you could just kind of give us some sense on that.
Yes, because of people cooking more at home and making cooking food at home, we are seeing a lot of opportunity in gas stoves, mixer grinders, and pressure cookers. These are the three categories which is of we are seeing very high demand in, especially in e-commerce, and now it's also happening in the retail channel as well, traditional retail as well.
So even after seeing this kind of demand you were still saying that probably at this point of time, I'm looking at a 20% degrowth for the year.
See, no. We are working in such a way that even if that happens, we should be at a break-even level on a worst-case scenario.
Okay.
But our internal estimate is better than that. Currently, it's very hard to give that estimate, Prashant. Maybe when there is a Q1 results call, we will be better equipped to give that information.
Okay. But just for the sake of calculation, if I just kind of speak of it actually, you assuming that there's about a 25% decline in our in my sales as well, as still probably end up with whatever you're just saying right now. I end up with about 500 crores of sales, assuming not even a 45% gross margin, a 40% gross margin. I'll end up with about 200 crores of gross margin number. And you said that I have a 10 crore fixed cost monthly. Is that a fair assumption?
Mm-hmm.
I still arrive at about close to, you said you plan to reduce that by about 20%. Even if I go with a 10 crore number, I'm looking at about a 120 crore number. You would be,
in that scenario,
when you're talking about break even, are you talking about break even at an EBITDA level, or are you talking about break even at a PAT level?
At the PAT level. See, in that case, when in the situation, if we see a worst case scenario, in that case, even our advertisement expenditure and other variable expenses will also be cut for this year.
Okay. And when you say this fixed cost, this also includes the employee costs and all of this stuff, right?
Mainly the employee cost. Yes, you're right.
Okay. So ideally, when I'm talking about in a particular quarter, if I do roughly about close to 50 to 55 crores of cost, which is your employee and other costs, you're saying the rest, only 30 crores fits in the balance, 25 crores is variable, which is something which you can probably work.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And last bit, sir, you said what could be the debt increasing up to? If you could just give us some sense of that. You said you're looking for debt to increase.
The debt end of March 2020 was 170. We want to maintain at the same level.
At the end
temporarily we will be increasing to a tune of 20-25 crores. But end of year we wanted to come back to 170 crores at the same level.
Okay. Thank you. I shall come back to this.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants that anyone wishing to ask a question, please press star and 1. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Viraj Mehta from Equirus PMS. Please go ahead.
So assuming that we do 500 or 550 crore of sales, in that scenario, what is the kind of we will cut back on entire advertisement, and what is our advertisement cost as a percentage of sales? What was it last year?
See, what will happen is, if you take our advertisement and promotions, one major chunk of it is the above the line activities, which is pure advertising, and one major chunk is the below the line activities. So we will take a call in such a way that we will start reducing at below the line, then probably go with above the line. We have not taken that call yet, but that would be the call at that point.
Understood. And sir, so what we want to understand is let's say if we do 550 crore sales and you say we break at EBIT level, is it fair to assume that every incremental sales that we do after that 550 crores and we generate 40% gross margin, all of that goes to our PBT, or will there be any other incremental cost post that?
Except freight, which is except that every other profit will be to the PBT. It will go to the PBT level.
And sir, just one last question. In a scenario like this where a lot of managements have taken reasonable compensation hit to their own because profits are going to be significantly lower, as our company, have we taken any call on that?
Yes, we have done it. We have done it in such a way that different slabs of pay will take different cuts. We've already done it. We've done it from the month of May, and we will continue it until the year end.
So, sir, if you can say what is the key management remuneration down by?
As of now, it's around 20%.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks a lot and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jaykant Kasturi from Way to Wealth Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, in terms of your current situation with regards to your dealer distributor, and how do you see in terms of product-wise sales happening right now? If you can give some color on that.
We are currently, day by day, it's changing, Mr. Jaykant. It's getting better. If you take products like mixer grinders, pressure cookers, and gas stoves, there is a lot of demand which is happening at this point. So we are actually very positive about the current situation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prashant Putri from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for the follow-up, sir. I have a few questions over here. So firstly, if you could just again, if you just asked about the dealers part, how are we pretty much supporting our dealers with the distributor system? Anything that we are probably extending to them in the form of an extra credit or anything of that sort? If you could just speak it across channels, how is that position?
Prashant, what we are currently doing is we are currently helping them in bringing channel finance so that they are getting extended credit and we will be getting paid soon. So we are helping them to bring that from the company level. That is helping them actually.
What would be the extent of channel finance right now we have in our system?
Currently, we have about 50 crores of limits from the channel financing.
And is there any endeavor in terms of how much you want to reach to in terms of channel financing?
It will go to around, it was 30 crores last year. Now it has come to 50. 20 crores have been added. We are adding another 20 crores in another 2 months' time.
What about the, apart from that, so obviously still that will be not a very big amount if you look at the receivable numbers. So first is, sir, what is it that you're doing in terms of our receivables? How are we looking to kind of normalize that? Because at the channel level, online channel and all of them, the receivable days are much higher. So what's the outlook on that front as far as channel receivables are concerned?
Actually, new channels are better currently, especially if you take online. We are actually using, if you take a channel like Flipkart, we are currently using immediate payment scenario where we get paid in 7 days and we offer a cash discount to them. And even modern retail is at 30 to 40 days. Only areas, the traditional retail, where it goes up to 60, 75 days. What we are currently doing is we have tied up most of our big distributors with the channel finance, which is helping us.
So we are not really expecting that that number should kind of go up from here level. What would be a receivable level which you're looking at from a target perspective?
Receivable by March 2020 was 61 days. We want it to remain at around 60 days level.
Okay. What will be the inventory in the system, sir, at this point of time, both at your dealer distributor level and at your level?
At our level, it's about 90 days. In the supply chain, there will be another 30 days of inventory.
Okay. What is the usual level of inventory? Because that seems to be a little too high, or isn't it so?
Because last 15 days, the sale was completely lost. We had lost about 40 crores of sales in the last 10 days because of the sudden lockdown.
Okay. So, technically, again, over, like you said, 90 days at your level. So, you said that at 30 days. Have you seen it wherever the law opened up faster, wherever the things have opened up faster, over there, supplies have resumed back in terms of the let's say, as a market, there's a number. How would the number have changed, let's say, going into right now? Has the investment level reduced, and to what extent?
Now what we're doing is we are actually running manufacturing in a fully way because there is a lot of demand coming. Most of our plants are running full capacity now, and by end of this month, there will definitely be a reduction of more than 10 days in inventory.
You're saying in about 10 days in the reduction. Okay. But just a couple of things here in terms of if I look at our numbers for the last year, let's say for June quarter, June, I believe April would have been zero for us, and maybe to an extent even May, half of May would have been zero for us.
Correct.
Just trying to understand that typically we did about 150 odd crores of business last year. Obviously, the April quarter is going to be pretty much a washout for us. What level of, I'm just wondering, when you're talking about break even, are we talking about the full year, or are we
Full year.
Quarter? Because the quarter, the number will be pretty sharply down, and maybe that will continue in the next quarter as well. Just trying to understand that what gives us confidence on the break even part.
Because break even will be for the full year. Q1 will definitely not be break even. Q1 we have lost more than 50 days of sales. So Q1 cannot be a break even. We will be only touching close to 40-45% of our targeted sales in Q1.
Okay.
So by end of year, we are very confident of break even. One of the main reasons is there is a lot of cost cutting, and that will help us to do that. And on the other side, we are seeing very positive demand which is happening at this point. Day by day, it's getting better.
Sir, I understand obviously it's a very difficult scenario, but just probably stressing a little bit over here in terms of fixed cost. Well, you said that the fixed cost is about 10 crore per month. You plan to reduce it by 20%. So yes, obviously from a percentage perspective, 20% looks good. But obviously because at a value level, it's obviously much lower. Is there a case that you probably can look for a higher cost cutting because it's going to be very difficult year? From an angle, is there a case that the cost could be, is there a scope for cost to come down further sharply, or do you think this is the best which we can do?
Prashant, there is definitely a bigger scope. If you take our advertising and promotions, we spend about 9 to 10% of our revenue on that. If there is a case which there's the way which we need to do that, we will be reducing that cost for this year.
Okay. What could it come down to?
Currently, we want it to remain the same, but if there's definitely a bigger degrowth, we'll bring that down. We'll at least bring that down by 3-4%.
Okay. Any other costs which you can probably look at? Anything else which is there? Any leakages which is there in the system which you can look to reduce?
This would be the major heads, but there are smaller heads also which we are working on in the company level. We are looking at every heading of cost.
Okay. And one last question from my end, sir. Typically, in our interactions with a lot of other brands, what we're getting to hear is that the strong would get stronger because they're in a relatively better position as far as balance sheet and cash flows are concerned, and probably the weak would get weaker. Is generally their commentary which has been. What would your comment be on the same as far as this is concerned? Because, like I said, it's also a case that incomes are also under pressure. So probably there'll also be a focus on value for money products as well, where you pretty much fit in. So what would be your comments be on the same when you're talking about the strong gets stronger and the weak gets weaker?
Listen, I can only comment about our company. For our company, we are taking this as an opportunity to reduce cost on one side. On the other side, since we have a strong emphasis on new product development, we want to bring very good products at a very good pricing. So we are using that as an opportunity.
Any plans for SKU rationalization? Would that also be a part of the exercise?
Sorry? Can you repeat?
No, I'm asking, are you looking at SKU rationalization as well in this year? Is that also a part of our strategy?
See, as per plan, we are going with new launches.
Okay.
So that is happening. We will be bringing some products in mid segment as well as the value segment for this year.
So in the existing portfolio, no plan for any SKU rationalization or any
That happens every year.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Bajari from Haitong Securities. Please go ahead. Rahul, we are not able to hear you.
Is it any better now? Hello?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I have, some questions, more from a long-term perspective. Now, when we see this industry, the entire brown goods industry, whether it is home appliances or kitchen appliances and all, this is a fairly competitive industry. Okay. Now, I want to understand from you, how do you see this industry evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? And if you can actually give me examples on each category as to what are the developments that are happening, or how do you see a particular category shaping up? Or if you want, you can stick to the larger categories. That is the first question I've got. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Rahul. What is happening is every year there has been a lot of developments in our products. If you see Butterfly, we are one of the pioneers in bringing new products into this industry. But what we are trying to bring is we are trying to bring some revolutionary product which makes cooking easier, which reduces your time in the kitchen. So that is happening. For example, if you take a product like mixer grinder, we are bringing in better. We are trying to bring in a patented mechanism which will help you to reduce cooking time by 15-20%. So these are the things which we are building. There are a lot of things happening for mixer grinders, pressure cookers, and as well as the gas stoves. Gas stoves, what is happening in the last 3 years, there has been a lot of efficiency increase in terms of pressure cookers, in terms of gas stoves. So that will continue to happen. This will be a broader idea of what is happening. If you have any detailed question, please go ahead.
Sure. Now, just to understand, this to the next level. Now, like I said, this is a very hyper competitive intensity, really, So what is it, you told me that you are looking at focusing on efficiency from each product category and all. What do you think is competition really focusing on, and what are the edge which are the categories that you would say that you have an edge over competition? That is just continuation of this question. Thanks.
See, our major focus is on our main product categories are mixer grinders, gas stoves, pressure cookers, and tabletop grinders. We will continue to focus on all these 4 product categories. We'll bring in a lot of innovation in these categories at a very good pricing. So we are working on fantastic new models which will be coming soon. We want to increase our market share in all these categories, in all these segments.
Okay. Sir, I just want to understand, what do you think is the total market category size of, mixer grinders industry, gas stove and pressure cooker? Approximately should be good.
If you go pre-COVID, we were one of the fastest growing appliances brand in India. Unfortunately, COVID altered everything. We will continue to do that. I don't have the market size information of each product in this one. You can reach me separately for that.
Sure, I will reach out to you separately. Fair enough. So that is the first part of my question. Sir, my second part of the question is, that there has been so much of emphasis on domestic manufacturing. So I wanted to know, the second question has 2 parts. One is how much do you actually outsource, and how much of products do you actually import from China, and what are your plans to increase domestic sourcing, own manufacturing?
If you take our entire product segment, about 80% of our product is manufactured in-house.
Okay.
And about only 5 to 10% would be outsourced from China. Around 10 or 15% is locally sourced.
Okay. And, this, whatever you are importing from China, you think that is possible to have domestic sourcing, or that is difficult given the scale and the volume?
100% it is possible. We are working on that. We want to bring it we want to bring all our products to Make in India in few years' time. That is the agenda which we are working on.
Okay. And which are the products that you all are importing from China right now?
If you take a product like electric rice cooker, then you have kettles, breakfast appliances. These are all small product categories which we import from China.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. And sir, you also, I remember reading on your company, that you have export focus in the business. So I want to know what are we really doing on export, and what are the growth drivers really in export. And I'm sure you will be facing competition from many Chinese companies also in the export market. So what is the advantage that you will have over some other players? As when we talk about export market. And how much is export? Actually, I don't know how much is export.
If you take our export is hardly, it's around, last year we did about 15 crores of revenue in export. There is a lot of for us because our base is very small. We are talking with some big distributors and big retailers.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, all our products cater to Indian population abroad. So we are talking with big retail and we are trying to tie up with them.
Okay. Fair enough. Sir, my last question, before I just wrap up. From the competitive perspective, I was just wanting to understand which are the competitors, if you can name some of them, who are doing different things, and, so, somebody who's really trying very hard to really, tap into this market in a big way. So which are the competition that you think are doing the right things or not doing the right things?
Rahul, I can't comment on that at this point.
Okay, no problem. Sure. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Disha Seth from Adam. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Hello. Hello.
Hi, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, can I get, when you said mixer grew by 12%, gas stoves by 40, there are four...
Ms. Seth, we are not able to hear you. Your audio is sounding very soft.
Hello. Now, is it better?
Yeah, it's better now. Please tell me.
Yeah. So when you said mixer grew by 12% and gas stoves by 40%, that is for FY20, right?
Correct.
And how much?
I'm talking about the retail channel. If you take oil marketing company's channel, we had a degrowth of 45%. That is for gas, mainly for gas stoves.
Okay. And sir, how much is their contribution to sales? Like mixer grinder contributes how much to the sales?
I'm sorry, I can't give that data at this point. We will not be giving product-wise information.
No, I mean, which is the largest contribution to your sales? Like, is it mixer, grinder, gas stoves or cooker?
If you take our number one product would be the gas stoves, followed by mixer grinders, then pressure cooker, then tabletop wet grinder. These would be the major four product categories.
Okay. And sir, in terms of pressure cooker, I just industry-wise wanted to ask you, are customers preferring stainless steel over aluminum? Like, what is the scenario?
Aluminium is the largest selling currently, but there is a lot of improvement in demand for stainless steel. Stainless steel used to be very, very small. Now it's becoming a big product segment.
Okay. And sir, how much is the price difference between both?
It will be about 40 to 50%.
Okay, sir. So that's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Priyam Khemawat from Infinity Alternatives. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to confirm what is our total advertising expenditure for FY20, both above the line and below the line?
If you take for FY20, it was about at around 65 crores.
Okay, that's around 10% of our sales.
Yes.
So if I look at your P&L, basically we do 42% gross margin and 6-7% is our freight cost and 10% is our advertising. So net contribution would be around the 25% of our sales. That's correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So if I assume a 120 crore fixed cost base, we should be able to do an EBITDA break even at 460-470 crores. That's right? Understanding?
Correct.
Okay. So when we are telling that we'll be able to do a PBT break even this year, so our sales number should be a little higher than 450 crores for this year. Assuming that even second half is a little weak than what we are expecting, but at 450 plus crore, at around 450 crore, we should do at least an EBITDA break even.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Sir, and any other cost levers which you think you can alter apart from advertising, because freight will be what it is. Apart from advertising, any other cost levers which you think can alter during the course of the year to enable us to do a little better if in case second half also turns out to be a little bad than what is expected?
Yes, we are also working, trying to see how we can optimize the warehouse. There is a good big warehouse cost which we want to reduce. We are also working on that. In fact, we are working on every cost headings.
Okay. Okay. Sir, and any other cost measures which you think have been completely removed for the system which were inefficient earlier before COVID, and now you've understood that even without these costs we can survive as a company even FY22 onwards? Any such costs which you've removed from the system, if you can quantify that?
We don't have any of that thing, but what is happening is there is a lot of cost cutting which is happening everywhere. If you take expenses like traveling, which will come down significantly, even that will come down significantly. Okay. So we are trying to bring all the costs down.
Okay. Okay, understood. Sir, and my last question is, out of the 650 crore sales, what is the online sales out of that? E-commerce?
E-commerce for FY20?
Yeah, FY20.
E-commerce was about 145 crores.
145 crores out of 650. And oil and that oil marketing channel would be around 70 crores, 10% of our sales?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. All the best.
Right, thank you.
The next question is from the line of Lakshmi Narayan from ICICI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mayur. A couple of questions. You mentioned that the oil marketing channel had declined a lot, right? What was the reason for that? Is it something to do with the channel or something to do with the products or the product mix?
See, that is because oil marketing company channel grows based on solely on the new connections released. And if you take in the last few years, they had something called as Ujjwala scheme, where they have to give new connections. The Prime Minister had announced that we have to give about 7 to 8 crore new connections, which was completely over. So that scheme was withdrawn, and the number of new connections were lower.
Okay. So right now you mentioned that it is for some 70 crores in my view. I think that's how
yes, correct. It will be around there, yeah.
Okay. And if you remove that 70 and the 220 crores which you mentioned, then you get the retail tax.
Correct.
Okay. Now, okay. And in terms of traditional retail, between South and non-South, right? What has been what has changed in non-South in the last couple of years? To be appointing new distributors, or what is the plan there?
Okay, if you see, non-South has grown really good for us. If you see non-South in the last 3 years, it has grown at around 50-55% year on year. If you take the South, taking all the channels put together, it has grown at around 12-13%.
Okay. And now non-South is how much of our turnover now?
Non-South is about
Because I didn't see the presentation which you normally upload, so that's hence the question.
Non-South is about 145 crores of revenue for us.
Out of the 680 odd crores.
Talking only about the retail, even if you take I don't have the oil marketing channel division at this point, but if you take the retail, which is about 593 crores of sales, taking all the new channel into account, 146 is from non-South.
Sorry?
If you take only the entire retail channel without oil marketing company, around 145 to 146 crores of our sales is from non-South markets.
Okay. Got it. And this expenses in terms of your advertising and sales, right? Is it around what is the mix of digital and non-digital, or is it predominantly on promotions? The entire 65 crores is spent across?
In about 40% would be pure advertising, that is the ATL spends. And remaining would be towards the below the line activities at the store level.
Okay.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Mr. Narayan, are you done with your question?
I'm done.
Thank you. The next question is in the line of Dhaval Mehta from ASK Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for the opportunity. Hi, Mayuresh. Hope you are doing good.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Mayuresh. So my question is with respect to categories. I understand these are early days, but let's say in the month of May or June, which category has positively surprised you in terms of sales, and which category has been relatively quite muted as compared to your internal estimates?
Pressure cookers and mixer grinders are really doing well at this point, majorly in e-commerce.
Okay. And in traditional and modern retail, still they are slow to pick up?
Traditional retail have just started. In the last few days, we are seeing good signs, good symptoms in the traditional retail.
Okay. So structurally, let's say in the post-COVID era, you expect any of the category actually will be benefited by the COVID? So you expect traction in any of your categories?
See, we feel that there'll be an increased customer awareness that cooking at home is better. So that will definitely help us in the long term.
Okay. So my last question is, do you think that the terms of trade will be rewritten in the current scenario, let's say your terms of trade with an e-commerce partner or with the traditional retail or modern retail, because even they would have faced losses in last 3 months, and to compensate, they would have either asked for a higher margins or a higher credit period. So do you think that the terms of trade will be rewritten across channels in ensuing months or quarters?
We've not seen anything like that until now, and we don't see any changes.
So you expect that it will be the same, be it margin or trade period?
At the margin level, it will be the same. At the credit level, there might be a little increase where we are looking at extending channel finance.
Okay. So, thank you, and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is the line of Aditya Mehta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for continuing with the con call even during this tough time. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for the guidance. So, just a question on the non-South markets. So, how have been performing over the years, if you see, and how we have been able to capture the market as compared with the comparison to our competitors?
I don't have competitor information currently. We don't have that. But if you see our non-South, since our base is very small, we are growing very fast. If you take last 3 years, we've been growing at 55% year on year. If you take a compounded growth rate, it will be at 55%.
Okay, sir. I agree that we are going very fast. Its base is low. So what is the difference what difference we are doing differently as compared to our competitors, which are getting demand for our products? Because it is already a saturated market, if you see. There is no such market where no appliances are available. So what is are we giving good margins to dealers, or what different are we doing?
If you see our products, we've been launching a lot of very good products at a good pricing. That is happening. If you see, there are only very few brands which have a complete kitchen range, where Butterfly is one of them. So people welcome our brand because of our quality and our pricing.
Okay. And so just one more thing, since we are developing many new products, so are we looking to diversify into something like related to hygiene products, which we can manufacture in our company?
Currently, no.
Okay. And just in device related to marketing, so if we see the trend has changed from eating outside to cooking at home. So now most of the people who cook at home are watching YouTube videos and then preparing at home. So why not to tie up with those YouTube influencers, with channel holders who have millions of followers, and promote our brand over there?
Yes, Mr. Aditya, that's a very good suggestion. We're actually in talks with some of them. We're actually working on that.
And even on Instagram, there are short videos which are very popular, which two channels are uploading over there. So we can tie up and increase our brand image over there.
You are right. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's it from my side. All the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aditya.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lakshmi Narayan from ICICI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mayur. Did you give the growth of these 4 categories maybe over the last 1 year or maybe the last 5 years or so?
You mean the major product categories for us?
Yeah, you mentioned that the major categories are LPG, mixer grinder, cookers, and tabletop, right? Now, what has been the growth in revenues of these categories? Is it something which is given and I missed it in the call?
So if you see for the last 3 years, if you take a product like a mixer grinder, we've grown at about 24%. If you take gas stoves, we've grown slightly about 20%. Pressure cookers have grown more than 35%. So if you take, these are the 3 fastest growing categories for us in the last 3 years.
And what about the tabletop grinder?
Tabletop is around 12-13%.
Okay. Now, in terms of these growth that is taking place, right? So one is essentially the channel where you may be expanding the number of touch points you actually do, right? What has been the growth in the distributors as well as the retailers? What has been that? And then kind of attribution of this into how much has come from that and how much has come from displacing the competition.
See, we haven't increased distributors in the last 2-3 years. There's been little increase. Dealer numbers have increased in non-south markets, not majorly in the south market. But if you take new channels have played a big role. If you take channel like e-commerce, modern trade, they have played a big role.
Okay. And modern trade, any specific thing which you did that actually increased the sale in modern trade? Did you actually do some kind of a private labeling or what actually? But whether do you do any private labeling or everything is in Butterfly brand?
Everything is done under the Butterfly brand. We have gotten a lot of new products in the last 2 years, which had helped us get into the new channels.
Okay. That actually helped you to grow. Okay. And in terms of the